Welcome back to the Mindful Mic, where we open up honest conversations about mental health, connection, and the power of community.
Today we're talking about hope in action and how students across our schools are stepping up to make a real difference through a powerful peer-to-peer program called Hope Squad.
We're joined by Jason Shanks, who helps oversee Hope Squads across the Boise School District, and Michelle Weickum, a school social worker and LMSW from Riverglen Jr. High.
Together, they're helping empower young people to recognize warning signs, reach out to one another, and create safe spaces for open conversations about mental health.
It's an inspiring example of what happens when we trust students to lead with empathy and courage.
Let's welcome Jason and Michelle.
Okay, well, hello, Jason and Michelle. How are you two this morning?
Good.
Yeah, doing great.
Good. Yeah, thanks for coming. We're so happy to have you and to talk to you today. I was hoping we could just start off by you two sharing a little bit about your roles in the district, what you do, and how you became involved with Hope Squad. Jason, we can start with you.
Sure. So my role in the district is I am the counseling supervisor. So I support all of the K through 12 counselors with whatever they're doing in their buildings. I became involved with Hope Squad after we had a really difficult year, to be honest. We had a year where we had several suicides by students and staff, and we really took a step back and then wanted to analyze what we were doing to educate students and to support students. And Hope Squad is one of the things that came to the forefront as something that we really could lean into. After talking with some of our partners, we landed on that along with a couple other initiatives.
Great. And how about you, Michelle?
I am a school social worker in the Boise School District. I am primarily at a junior high, Riverglen Jr. High, and then I do support some of the elementary schools surrounding. And what that means is that I can help students and their families access resources in the community for basic needs. I can work one-on-one with students struggling on a day-to-day basis. And then I also get to run student support groups, which is really fun. And kids in support groups usually have an underlying common thread, whether it's anxiety or a big life change. And then one of the newer fun things we get to do is co-facilitate Hope Squad.
Amazing. So can you both tell us a little bit about, for anyone that has no idea listening, maybe what Hope Squad is? What is Hope Squad? What does that mean? What do you do? All of it.
So I'll talk about like the overbearing. So it's a school-based peer-to-peer group that supports students and is trained to recognize thoughts of suicide, but also depression, any type of angst that might be going on in their students within the school. Ours is a little bit more unique because many Hope Squads are ran as a club. We felt it was really important that we didn't put another thing onto staff members' plates, and we advocated really strongly, hey, we want this as a class. We need dedicated time every day for students to get together with staff so there could be meaningful and purposeful and intentional planning of how to support students, and then to go along with a proactive piece of how do we get students involved, connected, and building community.
Yeah, and then I can speak a little bit to what it looks like in the building. So we do have, it is an elective class, and Jason said it was peer-to-peer. And what that means is we send out a little nomination form for all the students to fill out, and they have to nominate a friend or a peer that is trustworthy, is a confidant, is someone that is a good listener, someone they would go to when they're having a bad day. And then once we get those names, we kind of vet the lists and see if those are students that we agree with and would be a good support and a good representation of someone. And we ask them to be involved. It is an elective choice, so students have to, decide whether that is a priority interest for them versus some of the other electives offered. So it is cool that we get students that choose that as their priority to have in class. Yeah, it's really cool. And it's fun because everyone there wants to be there, and so you have a really captive audience. And then we might send out that nomination at the semester mark too, to see if we can get some more involvement, because sometimes kids go in and out of that class for other reasons. Yeah, that's basically it.
So just to clarify, is this offered at the junior high level only?
It is at all the junior highs and high schools in our district.
And the high schools. Okay. What kind of representation have you been getting? How successful? How are the classes? Have they been filling up? And
Yeah, as far as I know, every school only has one period, one class for it. It might change later on. At my school last year, we started the school year with 4 students. Kids weren't aware what it was. It was the first year. And by the end of the first year, we had 11 students.
Wow.
This year, we have completely doubled, and we are at 21 or 22 now. So I think just with it taking off and kids seeing how it is integrated into the school, and see what opportunities they have to be kind of a leader in the building, I think it can only continue to grow.
yeah, I was going to say, I saw you this weekend. We were at the kickball tournament for Stay and Play, and your table was the biggest. I was so impressed. It was full of kids.
Yeah, too many.
Too many. Everybody wanted to get involved.
Yeah.
And it was just so great. I mean, you guys were packed. There were so many of you, and wearing the Hope Squad, sweatshirts, and I was really impressed.
Yeah, what was cool about that too is that it was Hope Squads from different schools, and
Yes.
so they're getting to meet each other.
I love that.
Yeah, that was really
Yeah.
kind of a unique opportunity, I think.
And they were out, let me just say, they were out in the rain.
In the pouring rain.
Pouring rain, getting soaked, and they were still there. So kudos to you getting them
Yes.
out there doing that. So
To speak on that, today in Hope Squad, I asked them for their thoughts and their kind of response to this weekend if they were there, and they said it was well worth being in the rain the whole time. They loved
give me
it.
chills.
I love that.
Yeah, it's so cool. Both the players that were on a kickball team and the kids that just came to volunteer, they said it was well worth it, even though they didn't have a lot of passersby maybe to interact with. They still felt really good about that opportunity and just had a blast.
The energy was there, definitely.
Yeah.
Like you could feel the energy.
Amazing. So these students, they get nominated by their peers, and then you speak with them, and they can choose to join this class, this elective class. What does the class look like then? So what do they do when they come to class every day, and what's their role as a...
Yeah, I'm sure this is different at each school.
Okay.
But my school, every Monday we just kind of have what's coming up this week, what are we doing, how are things going if we're in mid-project, so today we did like a recap on the kickball tournament. And then our students are also in different committees within our group so that they can focus on one thing that they want to be a part of. And every quarter we switch, and we also work with our leadership students, which is kind of like the student council kids. So we kind of review that, have a leader from each of those committees update the rest of the class, like what their committee is working on, what they're doing. And then the rest of the week is either working on committee projects or team building or doing a Hope Squad lesson. And September has been very busy in October because of the Suicide Awareness Month and this kickball tournament. Hopefully things will settle down a little bit and we can be a little bit more building focused. But sometimes that's working on bulletin boards or social media posts or an activity for the library or during lunchtime. So it's a very fluid class. There's usually many moving parts all at one time. Yeah.
So Jason, you were saying that you wanted it to look different than just a club, and it's a class. So you guys have taken on this structure of it being more of a class. Are the kids kind of running the curriculum here, and the teachers are just kind of overseeing it? Or are they coming up with, okay, hey, I want to do this, let's get involved in this project or something? How does that look?
I think it's twofold. So one part of the curriculum is having students have a better understanding of their own mental health, of their own strengths, and really focusing on that before they start supporting other students. We want our students in the class to be well themselves and to recognize if they're not well and when they might need help. Once that piece is taken care of, a lot of initiatives are taken by the students. They are looking at what is impactful in their school, what their school may need, and then they're taking an initiative on what should we do to support our students, what should we do to create a better understanding surrounding mental health within our particular school, and what are the initiatives that we can do that supports all of that work.
Oh, that's great. I love that. And kind of going back to the idea of like why this got started, looking back, I think it was the 2023, right? We all know about the cluster and how impactful that was on the students. Are you seeing change in, kids being able to talk about it or make it, like, are you seeing this being a really good thing that has kind of come from that, and that they're finding that this is a place for them to be able to talk about what happened? Because I'm sure, it was only a couple of years ago, and the feelings are still there. The loss is still there. Yeah. How is that impacting these students?
I think to answer that question, we also have to kind of understand maybe a little bit more of the response to what happened in 2023. So Hope Squad is one piece of our response, and within Hope Squad is a gatekeeper training that is QPR, where we're teaching our Hope Squad students specifically how to recognize the signs, how to support a student, and how to refer them on. That's an integral part in what we did, but we also in 2023 realized our teachers were scared to say the word suicide. Mm-hmm. They thought, kind of that old think of, if we say the word suicide, we're going to put that thought into someone's head, and then we're going to have more suicides that we are going to be dealing with. And we really found a need, one of staff and two of students, that we need to normalize the thoughts of suicide, normalize the response to the thoughts of suicide, and how we get help. So within Hope Squad, that QPR, we also then had kind of a QPR for our entire school district. Every secondary teacher, every secondary student is receiving direct instruction now that correlates with that thinking of like, what do we do for a student? So every single person, not just our Hope Squad students, can respond. The piece where Hope Squad is really cool, though, is because they are kind of leading the initiatives in September with supporting the school-wide initiatives. They're supporting the teachers in some schools that actually did those interventions or did that lesson. They're putting on campaigns or other knowledge-based initiatives during that month to get that message out further. So it really is a whole school-wide based intervention, right, but also then with the Hope Squad supporting. So just greater knowledge all around, with our students leading some of that work and also being a resource for other students. That was one of the biggest things that we saw that was missing, was students didn't know how to support. So in that 23 time, we had multiple students that had heard of other students talking about suicide and didn't report it. We are seeing a complete flip-flop with that now. Even just last week, I had a high school reach out and say, look at these text messages that we've received. And it was a slew of really hostile text messages to a group of friends because they went and reported it to the school counselor because they were worried about what that person was posting online. So we've seen a culture shift globally, at least from what I've seen. Michelle, I'm guessing you've seen culture shifts in like your specific school setting too.
Yeah, I think just normalizing that language around it makes it more comfortable. And I think also for parents, when we have to have parent permission for them to be part of this class. And I think that conversation is really scary for parents right now because they are afraid of that, putting that word and that thought into their student's mind, and also about them being treated as a counselor in Hope Squad, which they aren't. But we are teaching them how to, they're already nominated by their peers, so they're already good listeners and good friends, but giving them the extra tool of now I hear you, let's do this, let's take you to your mom, or let's take you to the counselor, let's take you to a teacher or a coach, someone that you can go to for that extra support. And they aren't, like Jason said, they're not afraid of making their friends mad now when they do report. I get kids all the time coming in saying they're worried about a friend, which I think is a huge measure of success.
Well, what I think I love about this too is it's like adding protective factors onto every level of this issue, right? So you're equipping the students with the knowledge that they need to recognize the signs of suicide, also equipping the teachers with that same skill set, but also so that they know what to do if a student comes to them, right? Yes. And says they're concerned about another student. And then, Michelle, I love that you brought in the parents as well. another critical factor to this piece and just really strengthening the whole environment around the school.
Yeah, and they're able to provide, the parents are able to provide that support to our Hope Squad members if they are coming home saying, my friends are saying these things to me, what can I do or what should I do? And those parents can be an additional, like, okay, that's awesome that they trust you, let's do this or that. So I think it's just, overall, it's protecting our community, and we can only go up from there, I think.
And I also would say, I feel like the kids are probably teaching the parents, right? Because that generation, I'm in that generation, right? With the parents, I have the young ones. And I mean, we were just saying, you were just saying a couple of years ago, you don't say suicide, right? So, I mean, I know when being raised, you did, I mean, you did not say that word, right? You didn't talk about it. So now these parents are kind of having to do a look and say, wait, my kids are teaching me, you know, that it's okay to say it and it's okay. So I guess I can talk about it, and they're opening up the conversations. And I love that it's the kids that are opening the conversations with the parents, you know, and kind of teaching them at the same time.
Yeah.
Because I know as a parent, we have a lot to learn too. So I love the full circle there.
Yeah. And I think a big component of why Hope Squad exists is because we know that this age group is more likely to go to a peer than to an adult. And so, like Jason said, we're starting from the grassroots. We're starting from the people who are doing it, who are saying it, and who they're going to, so that we can give them the tools when that happens.
Right. And I've seen the post that you're talking about, Jason, because a lot of my friends, their kids are in junior high and high school, and I follow them. And I've seen an abundance of 988 and reaching out and saying, you know, it's okay to not be okay. I've seen so many of those in September, and I just love seeing that. So so many kudos to what you guys are doing for the community and for the kids and the families. So
it's a community effort.
Sure is, yeah.
So are there students that maybe aren't nominated by their peers to be in this class, but they still are looking for ways to get involved with mental health? What does that look like?
Yeah, absolutely. There's students that aren't nominated, and then at some of our high schools, we have hundreds of students nominated, so then you have to determine what to do with them. One of the ways that some of our schools have been exploring this year, and it's actually been pretty successful, is they have their Hope Squad class, but then they have also created a Hope Squad club. So any of those students then can join the club, and the club is ran by the class members and that advisor. So just opening another way to get students interested and being part of that movement within that school. Other than that, Michelle, are there other ways your Hope Squad involves other students?
Yeah, we have played with the idea of having a club before, and we might do that second semester. I'm not sure how that would work, but I love the idea of having the Hope Squad members maybe facilitate that. I know that we've had kids come to us and say, I'm really interested, but I wasn't nominated. And this might be different for each school, but we have let them in saying, yeah, we see your interactions with the classmates. We think that you do fit this mold exactly. So we have let kids in that way because we ultimately want kids that want to be there, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
And what was it? I know that there's a few different kinds of programs like this for mental health and suicide prevention for the school districts. I'm curious what it was, if there was something specifically about Hope Squad that made you want to pursue Hope Squad as the thing for the Boise School District. Were you considering others, or what makes it special?
Yeah, so we did look at a couple other things, and a lot of the times it comes down to your partners. If you have partners that you trust and they can say, hey, we've utilized this and it's been really successful, but here's a couple other ones, really leaning into your partners. When we were looking at this in 23-24, I was newer to my position, so we relied heavily on the people in our community to help us, to guide us, to give us information, and ultimately to look at our community as a whole of how to support students, staff, and those families. What we heard overwhelmingly from our staff, our families, and our partners was Hope Squad was one of the ones, in conjunction with our Tier 1, where we're servicing and supporting everybody. But it really was our partners that brought us there.
That makes sense.
And, speaking about partners, I learned about Hope Squad from the Speedy Foundation, because, oh goodness, did you hear that? I have an email came through. I'll get that later. So I got off track. So Speedy Foundation, there was Shannon Decker, founder of the Speedy Foundation, did, it was right after, it was in 2023, and introduced Hope Squad and stuff. So I know you work with Speedy Foundation. What other partners that you're referring to? Can you give us an idea of who you work with? And
Yeah, one of our other big partners in all of this was St. Luke's. They have research scientists that are specific for like suicide intervention, and we leaned heavily on a couple of them, Anna Radin and then Gretchen Goodmanson. We met with them frequently throughout it. The VA actually reached out. It was really cool, the different entities that reached out and just said, let's talk. Is there some way that we can support you? The VA reached out, the Rotary Club has reached out and actually is a sponsor of part of our initiatives around suicide prevention. It was really cool to see. We also have Bronco Bold through Boise State. So just getting our student athletes involved in another way of like, how do we continue to get these little pockets of students that have access to other students that we don't as adults? Lots of great partners. That, in addition to all of the mental health partners we have in the Valley, like there's so many individual agencies that reach out. We're here to support you. We're here to support you, to problem solve with you. I mean, we're here with you right now doing this podcast. You guys are one of them. So
yeah. So do you feel like there's a lot of community support out there in I guess I'd say the Treasure Valley, right? This is not, is this just a Boise school district, right? Any West Ada, are they? No, just Boise
Not
school
that I
district.
know
So
of.
this is a Boise, like Treasure Valley, I guess, initiative, right?
yeah, it originated in Utah there,
Okay,
and
that's
we
right.
it's actually being done in Eastern Idaho as well. That's one of the people we reached out to see how it was going, and they couldn't speak any more highly of it. So again, just getting people's input of what's been working well and how do we build off of that.
If there's someone from another school district listening right now that doesn't have Hope Squad in place and it's something they're thinking about or interested in bringing to their district, do you have any advice for them for how to get people on board and overcome some of those hurdles?
I think first off, we're learning in research that student voice is really important. Student voice in the classes they want, student voice within the community they want within their school, and student voice within mental health and suicide prevention. If you are looking for something that's going to include your students and is going to have a direct impact, Hope Squad is definitely one of those things. Being able to tap into your students within your school, it just magnifies everything you're going to do. If they are looking at Hope Squad, simply going to Hope Squad's website, reaching out to the Speedy Foundation, that is who kind of led us along. If you decide to go that way, Hope Squad is there to train you, to support you. I had a missed phone call again last week from someone just checking in. What do you guys need? How can I support you? What do your teachers need? So it's been a pretty good investment for our district.
Yeah, and I think going back to the peer-to-peer nomination, the idea of it, I think, is to get the different pockets of kids in the school. So if you can get one friend from each kind of group of friends, then you can feel rest assured that everyone is being reached by someone who has the knowledge to get them help, is the idea.
Oh, that's a great
Yeah.
point, because I think sometimes when we think of people that are nominated in this experience, it's the kids that are natural born leaders, right? That
Yes.
people naturally flock to, but there are so many different pockets of kids and kids within those pockets that are struggling and need someone that they see themselves in, right? That they
Yeah.
can trust.
Yeah.
And it's not, I love how it's not an academic ran, a lot of times it's like, if you're running for president, you're doing this, it's like, it's all about grades and academically, but I love that it suits so many kids, that feeling, that aren't always maybe the A student or GATE and all that. It's
Yeah,
like,
it's just
Right.
character
it's just
driven.
character driven, and I really feel, as, I keep bringing my kids into all the time because what I relate to, but as a mother with 2 kids in IEP, this is something that the IEP, and the counselors always say, they've got such great character. They're such good friends. And I'm like, yeah, this is something that I could see my kids becoming leaders in, and it's like, it's not academically driven. So,
Yep.
I love the whole thing around that. Gives me hope when my kids are there. So, yeah.
As we look into the future, what do you see as the next thing for Hope Squad? What are your big long-term dreams, goals, visions with this?
My dream is that every school that has a Hope Squad is going to participate in the kickball tournament. That is what I am working really hard to get, because it's just such a fun thing to do, because kickball is really fun. And then it goes to a good cause that naturally aligns with the mission of Hope Squad, of being connected and coming together in solidarity. And so I just think it's a great intersection between community and school. So that's my dream.
On the, just really quickly, just so people know about the kickball, because we've talked about it a couple times, and we've had Jake Stockton on a couple months ago. I'm just going to let people know really quick, kickball, it's for Kate Parrish, who was one of the children at Hillside that we lost in 2023. So Jake has taken this kickball on, and it's been like, the idea is stay and play. Mm-hmm. There's so much more out there. Stay, semicolon, and play. So I just want to give everyone a little idea of when we talk about the kickball tournament and why it's so meaningful to the Hope Squad. So anyway.
Yes. Jake actually came and spoke to our Hope Squad. I don't know if he spoke to a couple other schools, but I know last year he did. And it was Drew Peterson also came and spoke to our Hope Squad, and it was what the kids said was really cool about these two guest speakers is that one point of view was from someone who struggled themselves with mental health, and the other one was someone who was affected by someone who took their life. And so I think that's also another unique community partnership that we have, is getting our students kind of just multiple perspectives, which has been really cool.
I think overall what I'm excited to see is, as the students are gaining their voice and learning their impact, each year has been a little better. Last year was our first year, and it was a slow start in a lot of schools. But then that snowball has started rolling, so now we've seen the different things they've done this year. We've seen the better turnout with the Stay and Play kickball tournament. I'm really excited to see what the students come up with and how it's going to get bigger. There's even one, I'm not going to give too much information away, but there's a school-wide event that they're trying to break a Guinness World Record at one of our junior highs, and it's solely it's being run by the Hope Squad, and it's solely in the thought of how do we get our entire school community. So continuing to see, like, how do we get our school's community involved? What can we do that's fun? What can we do that's impactful? But what can we do ultimately to support students and mental health?
And if anybody can do it, it's our students nowadays. Yeah. I mean, with social media and I mean, we did not have this kind of reach back in the day, right? And so now it's like they've got this reach, they've got these listeners, and people are paying attention. And so if anyone can do it, I love, that's this coming right back to the peer-to-peer thing, right? They're the ones at the end of the day that are going to influence, what takes off and what doesn't.
Yeah, they're ready. They're out there and ready to like move mountains right away.
Yeah.
And what advice do you have for parents that are listening, or students that are in the Boise School District or not, but that are looking to get involved with Hope Squad? What can they do? Can they just come and talk to you, Michelle, if they're at your school? Or
I would encourage them to talk to their student's school, whether they have a student in our school district or not. Maybe their schools can also have a program similar to this where they prioritize empathy and mental health. And then they could probably go to Jason if they're wanting a more like broader impact or question.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would even take one step back. I would just encourage our parents that listen to talk to their students, talk to their students about mental health. Find that time when you're driving in a car where you're not making eye contact and it's awkward, that you can actually have a real conversation. I think that's the biggest thing with our Hope Squads that we've really found impactful and really meaningful for our families in our district so far.
I love that. Yeah, just encouraging that connection, right?
Yep.
The most important thing.
Yep. You're not going to know unless you ask. So.
And I think, speaking of connection's a cure. They, took my son to the event, and that's what opened up the conversation with my son. And so I think it's like these programs are allowing those conversations to start taking place. So, parents, start having those conversations. It's, do it now.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. If there's anything that we know, kids and adults mask their feelings and want to do well, and so you don't know if they're struggling or not. And if you give them the words to talk about it, then you're more likely to reach out to them when they need it most.
And probably also, right, setting the example that for the parents to do that themselves, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we as adults get in our own way a lot. I've realized that a lot in the past 2 years. The students want things to happen, and us adults, like, immediately. That is very true. We set like barriers, and like we find out time and time again, like the students want to talk about mental health. They want to talk about suicide. We took our Hope Squads to a fentanyl summit last year, and adults were like, "Oh," and the students were like, "This was the best thing we've ever done." Like, so we've just got to get out of their way and let them guide us sometimes.
Absolutely. I love that. Just like arming them with all the knowledge possible to be the best gatekeepers for all this stuff.
Absolutely.
It's incredible.
Yeah. So, I mean, is there anything else that we didn't touch on that you guys would really like the community to know about Hope Squad, or what you're looking for the future, what that looks like? I mean, I know we talked about, the programs and opening the conversations up, but anything else? And if not, that's fine too.
I think suicide intervention and prevention is a community issue. Yeah, community responsibility. I am so thankful for our community with the response they've had the past 2 years, and I just encourage everyone to continue that responsibility. We've made an impact in our community with suicide and deaths by suicide. We're not done, so let's continue the work together.
Idaho needs it.
Yeah,
Our state needs it a lot. So I'm so grateful what you are doing for the kids, here at the counseling services and everything, to have these programs that our kids have these. Thank you so much for everything that you guys are doing.
Thank you too.
We're all in this together, right?
Right.
We will put up on our website, we will have a link to Hope Squad and any resources that they want to give us. You can also get some fancy socks. Jason's wearing them right now, Hope Squad socks. I wish you could see them. They're very cool. So it's unlimited, apparently, of what you can get for swag.
Absolutely.
And represent. So thank you guys so much for being with us today. We really, really appreciate it. And be sure, everyone, to check out our website at children'shomeidaho.org. And also, do you want to give the URL out for Hope Squad?
I think it's hopesquad.org.
That makes sense. That makes sense. I bet that's what it is. And then we'll have it on our site too. So anyway, thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you.